Charles-Édouard Jeanneret, known to the world as Le Corbusier, operated as the superstar planner of the 20th century. By the 1930s, he had already defined the international style, a rigid architectural language based on the rules of mathematics. He viewed the world through a lens of precision and narcissistic ambition. In letters to his wife Yvonne, he described his ideal city as a place of flowers, water, and houses, as simple as those in the times of Homer. He did not seek to complement existing environments, he sought to impose a new order upon them. To Corbusier, architecture was a symphony. He believed a master planner would orchestrate human existence through raw concrete and geometric purity. He lived in a zone of absolute theoretical comfort, where a drawing on a drafting table was an immutable law. This was the era of the visionary, where the architect was not a service provider, but a deity of the urban grid. In 1950, the newly independent Indian government faced a void. Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru demanded a capital city that would serve as a symbol of a new India. This was not merely a need for office space or housing. It was a psychological necessity. Nehru viewed modernization as a tool to repudiate the colonizer while securing the promises of the future. He wanted the city that would provide the prerequisites of complete happiness and fulfillment for its citizens. The project required a total break from the past. The Indian state needed a physical manifestation of progress, a utopian center that could signal to the world that India had entered the modern age. This gap between the colonial ruins of the past and the aspirations of the sovereign nation created the perfect vacuum for a radical, uncompromising architectural intervention. The stage was set for a total reimagining of the South Asian urban landscape. The Indian government commissioned Le Corbusier in 1950 to design Chandigarh. Upon arrival, the architect immediately crossed a threshold of professional aggression. He dismissed the existing mayor plan as faux moderne, or fake modern, criticizing it for being cluttered with concrete parking spaces. Corbusier did not iterate on the previous design, he erased it. He imposed a massive, iconic, grid-shaped master plan that treated the city as a biological organism. He designated the capital complex as the head of the city, intended to be the seat of power and the focal point of the entire grid. This was the point of no return. The project shifted from a collaborative urban effort to a singular vision of a man. Corbusier entered the Indian landscape not as a guest, but as a conqueror of space, bringing with him the brutalist ethos of raw concrete and mathematical rigidity. The transition from the drafting table to the soil of Punjab revealed a harsh reality. Corbusier encountered the concept of jugaad, the Indian practice of making do with what is available. The raw concrete he demanded, the béton brut that gave brutalism its name, did not behave as it did in Europe. He had to mend and mold the concrete every step of the way. Construction relied on cement cannons and handcrafted labor, creating a texture that was unpredictable and rugged. He struggled to maintain his mathematical purity against the humid and limited local materials. The process was a constant battle between the architect's ego and the physical properties of the site. The struggle forced a transformation of his work. The concrete became an organic, weathered skin. He discovered a handcrafted quality in Indian concrete that he could never replicate in his later North American projects, such as the 1963 Carpenter Center at Harvard. Despite the material friction, the vision materialized. The Capitol complex rose from the dust as a series of splendid edifices of the highest level of modernism. Corbusier achieved the architectural symphony he had promised his mother, creating structures that flashed and developed under the light in ways he deemed unimaginable. The Secretariat and the Palace Assembly stood as monuments to a transformed utopian world. For a moment, it appeared the architect had won. He had successfully translated a European theoretical framework into a South Asian reality. The grid was functioning, the raw concrete facades were imposing, and the city of trees and water was taking root. He'd found the physical proof that his rules of mathematics could reign over any geography. He stood at the peak of his influence, having created a global benchmark for the modern movement and a testament to his own creative genius. The victory soon collapsed when the architect's vision collided with local governance. Corbusier intended to implement his unité d'habitation concept, inserting high-rise residential towers for government employees into low-lying city. He envisioned a collection of towers and parks. The local government demurred. They rejected his high-rise plan, stripping Corbusier of control over the city's housing. The design of the residential units was handed over to Généré Fry and Drew. To a man of Corbusier's narcissism, this was not a mere administrative disagreement. It was a betrayal. He felt insulted and overruled. The price of his arrogance was the loss of his total authority. He realized that while he could design the head of the city, he could not control its heart. The dream of a mathematically perfect society was fractured by the reality of political compromise and the autonomy of the people who would actually live there. Broken by this perceived betrayal, Le Corbusier effectively washed his hands of the city's residential life. He retreated into the capital complex, turning his final efforts into an act of architectural spite. In his 1951 drawings, the Secretariat had a clear line of sight to the rest of the city, framed by the Himalayas. Corbusier deliberately altered these plans. He constructed artificial hills between the capital complex and the rest of Chandigarh. These hills served as a physical barrier, breaking the line of sight. He drew a series of sections to verify that pedestrians could not see the city from the complex. He moved back towards his familiar obsession with control. But this time, the control manifested as isolation. He didn't want the city to see the capital. He didn't want the capital to be integrated into the city. The symphony had become a soliloquy. Today, the capital complex is one of 17 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, a testament to a patient research into the new architectural language. The open hand monument stands as the final symbol of the city, representing a world that is open to give and receive. But the distance from the initial vision is vast. The architectural symphony Corbusier described to his mother is now a monument to a utopian world that was never fully realized. Where he once saw a mathematical reign of order, we now see the tension between a superstar's ego and a nation's need. The city of trees and water exists, but it is fragmented by the artificial hills of a disgruntled architect. The grid remains, but the soul of the city was shaped by the very jugaad and compromise Corbusier initially despised. The rules of mathematics did not reign. They merely provided the skeleton for a living, breathing, and imperfect human environment.